Welcome back to the Student of the Game podcast. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. Hey, I learned something new today. Maybe you did too. Yeah, we're not allowed to talk bad about Chris Paul, even when he has a bad game. You're not allowed to say that. You know, what you're supposed to say is you're supposed to say, well, the reason why Chris Paul had a bad game is because he's only 6 feet tall, or because he had an injury, or it's Devin Booker's fault, it's DeAndre Ayton's fault, it's Monty Williams' fault. But on ESPN, whenever Chris Paul has a good game, they tell us he's the point guard. All praise to the point guard. All praise to the point guard. Bow down, get on your knees for the point guard. That's what they tell you on ESPN. I'm serious. That's what they tell you. Okay? But point guard's supposed to show up, right? Okay? Now, Chris Paul is no scrub. He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay? I'm a Chris Paul fan, but I'm a student of the game. Okay, that's the whole game of life, whether it's sports, entertainment, whatever, life stuff. I'm a student because I'm always learning. But you know, you see great players like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Giannis, and you know, if Chris Paul's supposed to be in that category, hell, he's a top 75 player of all time. Okay, and there's players that's not in the top 75 of all time who I believe that should be on there, but they're not on there. But guess what? Whenever they did not perform up to the high standard that we hold them at, guess what? They got slandered by ESPN. Okay, they got talked about. Okay, you take Tracy McGrady. They slandered Tracy McGrady. Like, number one, Tracy McGrady should be in the top 75. Okay, for a 5-year span, Tracy McGrady was like, you could say Tracy McGrady, the best two guard was either him or Kobe Bryant for a 5-year span. Okay. But anyways, I'm not going to go all up that deep into that. But, you know, when Chris Paul is performing well, he get all the praises. But when he doesn't perform up to standard, yeah, he's old. Hold up, man. He's lost 5. He's 0-5 in game 7s. Okay? And he didn't had 2-0 leads and blew them. Okay? Or 3-1 leads and blew them. I remember my Houston Rockets. This was before Chris Paul became a Houston Rocket. I remember when they was going up against his Los Angeles Clippers team. They was up 2-0 on us. Chris Paul didn't play in the first 2 games. So the Clippers won those 2 games convincingly against my Rockets. I was afraid we was going to get swept, right? So what happened is that the Rockets come back, win the series from 3-1, win the series 4-3 in 7 games. Chris Paul played in the remaining 5 games. And let me tell you who he went up against. He went up with old man Jason Terry and old man Pablo Pabgeroni. Okay? So, I mean, he's supposed to have dominated that, led his team to the next level. Okay? But anyways, Pat Bev was on ESPN, and I like Pat Bev. And everybody's jumping down on him because he's talking about Chris Paul. Well, I blame ESPN for that because we all know Pat Bev and Chris Paul, there's a rivalry going with them. Everybody is aware of that, okay? And instead of Stephen A. Smith keeping that same energy that he has towards Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, whenever they don't perform up to standard, he doesn't keep that same energy toward Chris Paul. He doesn't. He does not. Okay. And the thing about it is this. I didn't know he was going to bring on Pat Bev, but I knew he wasn't going to carry that same energy. So what they did was they went ahead and brought Pat Bev on there. So that way he can be so far to the left on it, right, to the left on it, that ESPN, that Stephen A will be, hey, he has no choice but to defend Chris Paul. Oh, and then you got Matt Barnes. I mean, Matt Barnes, you really talking about somebody being respectful to a former player or to another colleague and how you disrespected Kwame Brown? Really? All right. So, and you also going to insinuate that, well, just because Pat Bev is a role player and not a star like Chris Paul, he can't talk about him? Well, if that's the case, then, man, the show you was on, NBA Today, if that's the case, why What's the young lady that's on there? I mean, I forgot her name, but the lady that's the host and the lady that was the host before her, guess what? And Adrian Wojnarowski and Mike Greenberg and Stephen A. Smith, all of them, if that's the case, they didn't play in the NBA. If that's the case, then they can't talk basketball at all. You get what I'm saying? I mean, Kendrick Perkins was a role player. I guess Kendrick Perkins can't say anything negative about anybody or give actual criticism about a superstar, right? I guess Colin Cowherd can't, Skip Bayless can't, Shannon Sharp can't. Sharp played in the NFL. Marcellus Wiley, Emmanuel Acho. Who else? Am I missing anybody? I guess Tim Legler could never talk about Chris Paul, even though Tim Legler played NBA, but he was a role player, right? I mean, it's just crazy. But what's crazy, another crazy thing is when you talk good about a player, oh, they don't say, well, because, you didn't play the NBA or you wasn't a star, you can't say if that's a good player or not. I'm a firm believer, hey, if you could take compliments, you should be able to take criticism. You should. And I'm not blaming this on Chris Paul. It's just how he's perceived. All praise to the point guard. All praise to the point guard. That's what they be talking, man. And it's just crazy. I just think it's just out of pocket. It's ridiculous. And unfortunately, it makes it annoying when you're watching the playoffs, because all the other stars are getting heavily criticized. But when Chris Paul doesn't perform up to standard, he doesn't get criticized. What's up with that? What's up with that? I mean, share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Do you think do you think the same energy is applied on Chris Paul when he have bad games? Is that same energy applied when it's James Harden, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, or any other superstar players? All right. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Student of the Game Podcast. Peace.